Thank you. Good morning. It's the 30th of July 2026 and welcome to the July Ordinary Council meeting held here in the Council Chambers. We're commencing the meeting at 9 a.m. Attendance at commencement, we have all councillors except for Councillor Jacob Madsen. We'll now move on to the acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners, the Jagera, the Yagara and the Agarapa people of the Yagara language groups, as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to their elders past and present as the keepers of the traditions, customs, cultures and stories of proud peoples. We're very fortunate this morning to have our opening prayer by Pastor Billy Dean from the Raceview Congregational Church. Pastor Billy, if you'd like to come up, tell us a bit about the Raceview Congregational Church and then lead us into prayer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor and councillors, and appreciate the opportunity that I have this morning, as well as all the church ministers across Brisbane each month, to be able to open in prayer. I'm filling in for Scott Muir from Central Church, who's unwell this morning. So, as a good minister, we always have a prayer up our sleeve for those short emergency opportunities. I do want to, just by the way, most people know about our church, but I do want to acknowledge and appreciate the support of council, because our church got one of your compost bins that are free to the community. Our repurpose shed, which a lot of you may be aware of, recycles and repurposes donated broken white goods that our tinkering men, retired men, fix, repair, and then donate back to families in crisis across this city. So as part of our repurpose shed, not just repurposing white goods, but repurposing people, so giving the retired men an opportunity to give back to the community, we've started an intergenerational community garden beside the shed, working together. And that garden is going to work with the St Mary's residents, it's going to work with our kindergarten kids, and it's going to work with the primary school kids across the road at Raceview State School. So they all come together to help grow strawberries, tomatoes. So that was perfect timing for the start of this intergenerational community garden to get one of those compost bins. So appreciate that. It's sitting there ready to go and ready to be used. So thanks very much. I want to open in prayer this morning ahead of your general business. Let's pray. Most gracious God, we pray for our Ipswich City Council and our councillors, for our mayor and their families, for our council staff and their families. We ask that you direct and prosper the mayor and councillors in their decisions today for this city. We ask for safety and welfare for all our residents. We ask for prosperity for our businesses, and that there is peace and happiness, truth and justice in all our affairs. We look for wisdom and strength for all our community and service groups in this great city. May we be united in serving each other through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Billy.
Thank you.
And thank you for letting us know the impact of the compost bin.
Yes, I will. You'll see. I might bring in a tray of strawberries or something.
Oh, yeah. The tomatoes sound good too. Apologies in leave of absence. Has anyone heard from Councillor Madsen? I think the CEO said she hasn't. Oh, speak of the devil. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely. If you could just record it. So we'll move on to item 5, condolences, and there are none. Item 6, tributes, there are none. Item 7.1 is a petition from the community. There's a petition opposing the proposed public toilet facility at Spring Lake Park, Springfield Lakes, and the recommendation is that the petition be received and referred to the relevant council department for investigation, report back to the appropriate committee meeting. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. We now move on to item 8, presentations and deputations, and there are none. Item 9, public participation, there is none. Item 10, matters of public interest, there is none. 11, declarations of interest in matters on the agenda. I've received none so far, but I'll pause now to see if there are any declarations. No, thank you. Item 12, confirmation of minutes. So item 12.1 is the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting. Are there any questions on the minutes? In that case, I will move them. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Antonelli. Any discussion on amendments, errors, corrections? No. I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Item 12.2 is the confirmation of the minutes of the special meeting. So I'll move that the minutes of the special meeting, which was our budget meeting, on the 30th of June 2026 be confirmed. And I see Councillor Martin put his hand up to second that. Any errors, omissions? Thank you. I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Item 13, mayoral minute. There is none. We now move on to item 14, the business outstanding, including business arising out of previous meeting reports and matters lying on the table to be dealt with. And the first one here is item 14.1, the Rosewood Aquatic Centre petition response. Are there any questions of council officers before we go to that matter? No? So there was a petition, this is a report concerning a petition requesting a year-round operation of the Rosewood Aquatic Centre due to the current infrastructure not supporting year-round operations, and it's not possible to extend the hours without significant financial investment at this site. The future renewal of the facility will consider year-round operations. There are 3 recommendations here from that petition from the organisation, and recommendation A is that council continue to operate the Rosewood Aquatic Centre in accordance with the current approved opening hours and months and service levels, and B, that no changes be made to the existing operational schedule, and C, that the petitioner be advised of the council's decision to maintain the current opening hours, months, service provision. So I'll move that. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Madden. In speaking to this, I acknowledge that the Western Corridor is growing really quickly, and I think our Division 4 councillors are very much aware of that and are doing a lot of community consultation, are very active in our community. And we know that sometime there will come a point where a year-round pool will be needed, and I think will utilised. We can see in the report that when a trial testing the demand during colder months a few years ago, it showed a reduction from winter usage from 3,922 visits in March to just 310 visits in April. The current infrastructure simply can't support year-round operation without a major investment, and we're just not seeing enough demand yet to justify that cost. So we certainly do appreciate the community's passion for this facility, and I'm an avid swimmer myself, and we'll keep working to ensure Rosewood has the services and infrastructure it needs as that region evolves. I'll move to Councillor Madden as the seconder.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to highlight some of the matters detailed in Sonia Jolczewski's report, and also inform those present and those listening of some other matters concerning the Rosewood Aquatic Centre, otherwise known as the Rosewood Pool. Council-owned and operated public pools play a vital role in our community. They are the places that most of us learn how to swim, and Laurie Lawrence let us know how important that is. They are places that our swim clubs and school competitions produce champion swimmers in Ipswich. That means swimmers like Mark Tonelli and fellow Olympian Heath Ramsey, Ella Ramsey, his daughter, and Rosie Milgate and Lee Neal. Along with those seeking to escape summer heat, the primary users, Mayor, of our public pools are schools and swim clubs. In the case of the Rosewood Aquatic Centre, that means the Rosewood Rays swim clubs and the local schools and local state and private schools, neither of which have requested that we operate the Rosewood Aquatic Centre year-round. This is not surprising, Mayor, as swimming is generally regarded as a summer sport, both recreationally and competitively. At the school I attended, at the time, it was the only sport in summer. It did pretty well. It produced swimmers like Mark Tonelli and Heath Ramsey. But, Mayor, regarding the petition and Council's response, as detailed in Sonia Jolczewski's report, the first problem we encounter is the opening of the pool, with the opening of the pool year-round, is the heating system at the pool is not designed for winter operation. What it's designed for are early mornings and evening swimming during summer to allow our clubs to compete in the evenings. The second problem, Mayor, is cost. Currently costs Council about $280,000 to operate the Rosewood Pool. To operate it year-round would cost about $400,000. That is an extra $120,000. On a cost-benefit analysis, I have residents who live on unsealed roads who'd rather see that money spent sealing their road. Another question mark about the petition is, would those people who signed the petition actually use the pool in the cooler months if it was open year-round? Well, as Mayor has already indicated, Council has already considered this and did a trial in 2023 and kept the pool open for one extra month, March to April in 2023. During that period, visits to the pool dropped from 3,922,000 in March to only 310 in April. That's a drop of 92%. But for those people who live in the Rosewood area who would like access to a heated public pool in winter, I advise that after an expensive upgrade, the nearby Leichhardt public pool is open during winter, just 20 metres from the Rosewood Aquatic Centre. And for some time, after consulting with primary users of the Rosewood Aquatic Centre and the operators, I have wanted to see improvements and upgrades made to the Rosewood Aquatic Centre. I have seen other councils upgrade their public public pools so they're not simply rectangular pools. Some councils have installed features that are more common in water parks, such as water slides, and features that make the pool more accessible for people with disabilities, and possibly most importantly, remove safety hazards. They include replacing hard surfaces with soft surfaces. So, on the 11th of December 2025 at a council meeting, I successfully moved a motion with the support of my fellow councillor, Councillor David Martin, that council undertake community consultation using Shape Your Ipswich platform to inform the development of a master plan for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre. As well, in the 2025-26 council budget, $50,000 was provided for concept planning to upgrade the Rosewood Aquatic Centre as an outcome of the council's Aquatic Facilities Action Plan. And in the 2026-27 budget, a further $100,000 has been provided for planning and design work for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre. So for those people who signed the petition, I invite them to participate in the proposed Shape Your Ipswich campaign undertaken pursuant to my notice of motion passed on the 11th of December 2025. Finally, Mayor, I just wanted to say I've had experience just how popular the pool is at Rosewood. On the Remembrance Day in 2025, unfortunately it coincided with a swimming carnival, a Rosewood Small Schools Swimming Carnival. The car park was chock-a-block with buses from schools like Marburg, Hazeley, Ashwell and Grantchester. As expected, lots of nice, happy noise coming from the pool. But that all stopped when the last post was played. The kids lined up on the fence with their togs and they participated in the service. And I thought that was pretty good. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councillor Madden. It's a very moving. I didn't know that anecdote. Thank you for sharing it. I'll open it to other councils. I don't know if Councillor Madden is the other Division 4 councils or.
Yeah, Mayor, just briefly, Councillor Madden's articulated pretty well history of the pool, and we have spoken at length about different things. I agree with Councillor Madden that we've spoken to user groups and there was no interest from user groups, arrays or local schools to extend the hours, and everything he said is quite true, Mayor, in terms of costing and everything else. And moving forward, I believe in 10 years we're going to look at revamping the pool. I'd also just like to give a shout out to Ella Ramsey. She did actually win a bronze medal, her first individual international medal. She was in 4 races. She competed in 4. She made the finals in 4. She narrowly got 4th in 200-metre breaststroke. But yeah, shout out to Ella Ramsey. So well done, Ella. Whilst we're giving acknowledgements to sports people, I'd just like to say it's Alan Langer's 60th birthday today. So arguably one of Ipswich's favourite sons, Larrikins. So happy birthday, Alfie. Mrs. Langer turned 90. Well, probably shouldn't mention how old Mrs. Langer is, but Mrs. Langer had a birthday yesterday as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Thank you so much. I'll open it for other discussion. In that case, as the mover, in summary, can I just thank you, Councillor Madden and Councillor Martin, in your leadership last year in bringing forward that notice of motion for looking at the Rosewood Aquatic Plan, but also successfully advocating in our budget workshops, because we're all competing for different things, to making sure that those plans were in that budget. So that was done you basically put that through last year, well before this petition came through. So thank you for that, and thank you for your leadership in that area. And I'll just do one area. I think you said that Leichhardt Pool was 20 metres from Rosewood. I think you meant 20 minutes. If you see us all put our eyebrows up. So thank you. And obviously we can't forget with the Commonwealth Games, we're talking about Molly O'Callaghan winning gold and silver in the Commonwealth Games. So with that, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's unanimous and it's carried. Item 15, the reception consideration of committee report. There are nil. Item 16, officers' reports. And 16.1 is the CEO organisational performance report for June 2026. And the recommendation is that the CEO's organisation performance report for the month of June 2026 be received and contents noted. I will move that. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Doyle. In speaking to this, we can see that June was budget month, of course, and we're proud to deliver a budget that balances some pretty tough inflation measures and pressures while still keeping costs to residents as low as possible. And I think some of the analysis come back with the third lowest rates, I think, in South East Queensland. We focused on the essentials, roads, infrastructure and core services that keep our city moving. Fees and charges have been updated in line with the Council Cost Index. Pensioner discounts stay in place and green waste fees remain unchanged. The new quarterly fee for printed rates notices starts in January 2027 to encourage digital uptake with exemptions for pensioners. Ipswich's newest cultural landmark, the Queen's Park Ceremonial Healing and Remembrance Place, has been opened, and it was a beautiful ceremony that beautiful morning. It's a significant space recognising more than 60,000 years of First Nations connection and will support truth-telling, cultural expression and community healing. The recent planting of 1,800 native swamp lilies along the Bremer River isn't just environmental restoration, but a deliberate effort to bring back a species that once shaped the river's ecology and appearance, helping stabilise the banks and restore a piece of local history. Community engagement continues on Shape Your Ipswich, with particular interest this month on the Rosewood Place plan and the community engagement policy update. Council is managing 85 externally funded projects worth more than $271 million, which is great to see our grants team secure those. So thank you very much, CEO. And it's good to see our recent successful grants include SES upgrades for Marburg, Rosewood and Goodna, illegal dumping response initiatives, a recycling project and the YMCA Springfield improvements as well. Councillor Dawes, a seconder, do you wish to speak to the report?
Sorry, I think that's a good summary. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'll open up to other councillors. No? In that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Sorry.
I've just got a question in relation to page 151, just in relation to the staff turnover. And I guess it's maybe a question on notice to the CEO, but can the future reporting distinguish between general turnover and turnover in some of our critical specialist or difficult to recruit roles, particularly where the vacancies are affecting a project or delivery timing? I'm just wondering if we have that reporting function elsewhere and that can be included in our agenda.
Would that be a question on notice? Or
Question on notice. Thank you, Chair.
And I guess, is that being reported in the ARMC, the Audit and Risk Management Committee, or not?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so. I don't believe we've broken it down by occupations. So I'll take that on notice. Thank you, Chair.
Are you okay with that?
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other questions or comments? In that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. That's unanimous and carried. (16.2) is the monthly financial performance report for June 2026. Any questions on that report? No, I will move that. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I've got questions on that report.
Okay. Can I take it that you're seconding as well, or
Yep,
just
I can second,
okay? Please proceed with your questions.
Just in relation to the overall operating results, can we get like a normalised figure, considering that we've had some payments in advance and that's going to affect our future financials. I'm just wondering if we can get a bit of a normalised figure so that we can keep an eye on our recurrent position.
So when you say normalised, you mean where things have been prepaid or?
Yeah, so there's a few outliers with the federal assistance grant, etc., that we were discussing in our quarterly finance meeting. There was a few things that have kind of pushed it to the position we're in, but then it will affect our future year's position. So I'm just wondering if we can get a normalised result based on those adjustments.
Do you want that for this report for June, the end of the financial year, or are you looking at it going forward?
Just maybe, our position for the financial year gone.
Yep.
So that we can go forward from there.
I'll probably just check there's the questions I noticed to yourself, CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. I can, at the quarterly financial performance review during the week, I guess picking up on that discussion, I can advise that is our normal process. So every year, as all of those adjustments come in by 30 June and in the period shortly after, as we work up to financial close, we will come back to you in the coming weeks with that final position in the full wrap-up. So absolutely
process.
can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open it up for discussion. As the mover, I'll just say we are starting the year off with a stronger than budgeted financial result thanks to careful cost management, and it's pleased to see a surplus achieved despite economic pressures including fuel prices and storm-related work. Deputy Mayor, as the Secretary, do you wish to make any comment on that report?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'll open up for other discussion. Nope, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Item 16.3, which is the expression of interest for external advisors, the Multicultural Advisory Committee. And the recommendation is that the expression of interest for the appointment of external advisors to the Multicultural Advisory Committee, attachment 1, be approved. So I'm happy to move that. As a seconder, I'm going to assume Councillor Augustine wants to do that. Thank you. In speaking to this, I'm very supportive of the Multicultural Advisory Committee and the intent behind appointing the external advisors, always have been, as you know. Strengthening our engagement within multicultural communities is essential. We are a city that have residents from 163 different countries and speak around 152 different languages. So I think it's not before time that we are doing this. So having advisors gives us the chance to hear directly from people in our city who bring rich lived experience and perspectives we don't always capture through formal processes. External advisors can add real value by sharing cultural insights and specialist knowledge that complements the work councillors around the table are doing. And I thank Councillor Augustine as Chair for continuing to champion this important part of our engagement with our multicultural communities. Probably my only question I was going to ask is the EOI period is very short. I think it opens tomorrow and closes Monday week. And I was just looking at the fact that if we could, I don't know what the appetite is around here for it to be open for about 3 weeks or something like that. I don't know if there's a time frame that we're looking at, but and I apologise I haven't come to any of you. But yeah, I was just trying to make sure we noting our wonderful newspapers, and we have Byron from Ipswich Tribune today here, published every Thursday. So notice of this wouldn't be published until the Thursday paper, and then it basically closes on the Monday. So yeah, I guess that's the only thing I'll ask. But yeah, Councillor Augustine is the seconder. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I think you've highlighted a couple of things that I was going to touch on, but I think this will be a win for our multicultural community if this recommendation is approved today to go forward with getting the externals on that Multicultural Advisory Committee. You did highlight the how many different ethnic groups speaking different languages. Can I say census happens on the 10th of August? So I'm looking at that figure is going to change for us, Mayor, going forward. So it probably, the 11th of August. So I think that figure will change as well. But for me, I look at this, the externals, when they eventually come on, will give us some really good insights into things that are relevant to our different multicultural communities. If it's the way, you know, we look at health, or, you know, our funding streams, or, you know, what's happening with our groups in our sporting sectors, because that's growing as well, and the demand from that is also increasing. So just giving a little bit of, you know, insight into that sort of thing. When I do speak to different groups around the community about our Multicultural Advisory Committee, and also potentially having externals, they are very excited about and are very pleased that we are going down this path. Probably the only thing that I think that we've missed with this is we've got a multicultural festival happening on Saturday. I would have loved a Shape Your Ipswich team at that event, but there was no funding for it. I just think, well, why couldn't we have found funding for, when we found funding for Shape Your Ipswich team at Ripley opening of a cricket field? So that's probably been my only disappointment in this whole process, that we couldn't have a team there to actually capture and be part of this. So that's me. Thank you, Mayor.
Open, I think, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of comments to make and potentially a proposed amendment, but I just want to start by concurring with your commentary, Mayor. I want to thank Councillor Augustine for her advocacy, tenacity and passion in this space. At the outset, you spoke with me at length about your motivations and your goals, and even though you were met with initial resistance, you ploughed on and advocated hard and got everyone on board. So thank you for your advocacy. I was going to mention the festival on Saturday. Again, it's something we spoke about. We don't have anything within Ipswich Central of this size or significance. Once upon a time, the Diwali festival that I think Mefield Restaurant put on in Darcy Doyle Place was always very well attended and embraced by our community. So I have no doubt Saturday is going to be amazing, and thank you for that. And I'm delighted and excited to be there. My only comment or potential amendment relates to the expression of interest document. The term of appointment, we say external advisors will be appointed for a fixed term as determined by council. So in the spirit of the discussions around it being a good cross-reference of our multicultural groups and ensuring that it remains up to date and current, I did consider whether or not we should be putting a term in there to ensure turnover, to have the relevant parties at the table, but it may not be necessary. We might be able to manage that operationally or internally. So in that, I think we don't have anything there that council may terminate the appointment of an external advisor with or without cause upon giving 14 days written notice. I don't see anywhere in the document that there is the ability to do that. Whether that belongs in item 7, governance and conduct expectations, or just, I think, more so under term of appointment, allowing council the flexibility to add new appointments or not. So I do have a proposed amendment that I can outline depending on whether my fellow councillors deem it necessary, but I think it's important.
So Councillor Doyle has the floor. Did you wish to put forward an amendment for the EOI?
Yeah, so under item 4, term of appointment, there would be a third sentence which would read, council may terminate the appointment of an external advisor to the Multicultural Advisory Committee with or without cause upon giving 14 days written notice.
With or without cause?
Sorry.
So may terminate up to terminate.
Sorry. The council may terminate the appointment of an external advisor to the Multicultural Advisory Committee. I think it's a comma, with or without cause. Another comma. Happy to be guided by the grammar police. Councillor Tully. Upon giving 14 days written notice.
Before a seconder is
No, it
Thank-
doesn't. It's actually at the first stage is myself and Councillor Augustine deciding as the mover and seconder whether we accept that or not. But
well, I was just going to ask a question specific to the motion, which then you can both consider. I just have a concern about the term "without cause." That's, and I'm just, Councillor Doyle is a lawyer, so or has a legal background, so I guess I'm just asking
lawyer,
for
yes.
clarification on that.
okay, I'll let Councillor Doyle go first, and then Councillor Tully has indicated he'd like to respond as well.
The intention behind those words was that it was at council's discretion.
Discretion. It's to give council flexibility.
So potentially change those words.
Yep.
So it's less offensive potentially.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Councillor Tully.
Yeah, this is just a general comment. Could we hear all of the amendments together, so as a
Okay.
package, and then whether we vote on them separately is
Okay.
another matter. I think people might want to comment. That seems, with or without cause, is a common expression.
I would say, yeah, most
situations
organisations
like this, yeah.
noting this. So that's and obviously that's one. And you've got a couple of others, Councillor Doyle, for myself and Councillor Augustine to consider in the first instance.
No, I think nothing further would be required under 7 if
Okay.
everyone does agree
If that
to
one's there.
the third sentence in 4. Yeah, but happy to listen to the other
Thank you.
proposed amendments.
I'm okay with that. Councillor Augustine, are you okay with that?
Yeah,
That's a
yes,
standard.
Mayor, I think it's just thinking about different things. Yeah, I think that's a really good amendment.
Okay. So the mover and the seconder have accepted that. Councillor Tully, did you wish to?
No, I just wanted to make the point that the other issue that was raised,
Yeah.
which is still related to that, is that when we appoint, we can specify the term of the appointment at that time.
I think that gives council flexibility.
Yeah.
And
The only other thing was the reference to the period of advertising this. I don't think we agreed on a specific date to
Yeah.
change.
I was going to
extend it.
raise that in discussion, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
so I'd be happy for an extension of a week or two.
I'll go into that if that's okay.
If we have further suggested amendments, do you want them
You
now?
are always welcome to suggest amendments. Would you like to?
Oh, I just
the
thought
point
you
of
might
order-
want to do it in bulk, as Councillor Tully
Well,
mentioned.
Well, I'd like to speak to the timings, but I'll deal with that. I note that I think with the timings we discussed gives that 1 week, and you mentioned committees and so on. So I do note that whilst the committees are on, I think we're going to look at changing it to the 11th of August. The actual council meeting is on the 27th of August. So whether we did the EOI to Monday the 24th of August, so it still allows, I guess, something late coming to council, and it's still being done within Multicultural Month, August as well. I don't know if that's Councillor Tully.
I think that timings are
Okay.
quite good if that was then considered directly at the council meeting on that Thursday.
So what I would say with the recommendation, the expression of interest, I'm just checking, I don't think the expression of interest actually has the dates in there. It's the paper. That would be correct. So we'll make that current recommendation A. And recommendation B is that the EOI close. Actually, it's got the other one is Sunday the 9th. So shall I make it Sunday the 23rd of August? Is that okay? Make it Sunday the 23rd because the current one is Sunday the 9th of August. So it's 23rd of August.
That's an extra 2 weeks, is it? Okay.
So
You fine with that?
any other, Councillor Tully, you're comfortable with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Councillor Augustine, as the seconder, are you okay? Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the next, you had something you wanted to amend, Councillor Antonelli?
It was a mere suggestion, just
Yeah.
a choice of wording, if I may, in eligibility criteria, the dot points, the
Yep.
second lot of dot points, where the individuals are eligible to apply
Yes.
if over 18, etc. The third dot point mentions are a business owner in Ipswich. I'm wondering whether the term owner could be could include operator, as in business operator. They may be like a managing person.
Like a manager?
And the other suggestion I had was for the last dot point, the inclusion of the words or community after professional. So whose professional or community role supports Ipswich multicultural communities.
So explain that last one. You're saying?
Whose professional or
Yep.
community role supports Ipswich multicultural communities.
So you're putting the amendment forward, just so I get this straight, that under section 5, eligibility criteria, that third dot point, that you're a business owner or operator in Ipswich. And for the 5th point, whose professional or community role supports Ipswich multicultural communities. I'll just wait for that to come up for Councillor Augustine to consider. Yep. Are a business owner
Right.
or operator?
I did have some
In
minor
Ipswich?
discussions with Councillor Augustine.
If
but we
I
didn't
could just
run out
ask,
of
stop,
time.
could I, just so the Secretariat can get this down?
Yep.
And
all
the
good.
5th dot point? Whose professional or community role supports Ipswich multicultural communities? Now, did you wish to speak to that amendment? You said you had discussed it.
I had discussed it. I think it's self-explanatory, but however, I'm happy to answer questions. The further thing I did wish to inquire about, which was a question on notice more so than an amendment, just in relation to governance and conduct expectations, the last dot point, where it mentions that the advisors are to comply with relevant council policies, including confidentiality and the council employee code of conduct. Just a question on notice with respect to the code of conduct.
If I could ask, Councillor, if it's a question, we're partway through an amendment, can we please deal with the amendment? And then
Yeah, fair
I'll
enough.
go, I'll go
Yep.
straight to your question on notice. So, Councillor Augustine, I'm comfortable with those two amendments from Councillor Antonelli.
Yes, so am I, Mayor.
Okay, so
Thank
they
you.
are now the. Now we'll go to your question on notice on governance.
Yeah, just again, going back to section 7 of the EOI, the last dot point there, just the employee code of conduct. If you can give us some advice as to how someone who's not an employee and is not appointed to the committee as a voting member, how the employee code of conduct is applicable, that's all. I recognise that it's something that all persons involved with council have to be conscious of and comply with, but just an external member of the community, I'm just wondering how it applies.
I'll go to CEO as well, but in the first instance, I will say that all council contractors and consultants also have to adhere to that. All council volunteers, and I can say as someone who sits on Queensland government boards, I have to comply, well, I don't get paid. I also have to sign up to comply with the Queensland government's employee code of conduct as well. But I'll hand over to yourself, CEO, if you've got some further information.
Thank you, Mayor. Chair, along those lines, we were envisaging that the external advisors would be volunteers, and hence the code of conduct does apply to volunteers who work for council. But
I think it has to
that
apply.
was the expectation and the proposal. Yeah, it applies to volunteers. So if we do proceed,
Sorry, I didn't have my microphone on there. So
Yeah.
again, just to confirm, it was the applicability.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you, CEO.
Things I think of like the Ipswich Arts Advisory Group, other groups have got also sign up to that.
Yeah.
Councillor Tully.
Yeah, just in that vein, I think the intention is pretty clear that it's not suggesting they're employees, it's just extending the wording of that document to those persons. And it's a fairly common sort of situation.
And
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
sorry, thank you, Mayor. And I was just going to add with the amendment that Councillor Doyle placed in relation to, our power for sanctions and removal. I think that the code of conduct is then administratively convenient, and then we've covered off the other end as well. So,
Okay. So thank you very much for the contributions there. I thought they were all very valuable. I appreciate them. I guess I'll open up for a further discussion on the floor. There is none. As the mover, I don't feel a need to say anything else, except for I hope everyone comes out on Saturday. And what time does it start, Councillor Augustine?
Oh, it starts at 10 o'clock and finishes at 4. It's a jam-packed...
Is it 70 stalls or something like that?
Yeah, there's 70
and
stalls.
Live performances?
Yeah, of all different ethnic persuasions. We've got services, all the different services. We've got a sports alley, which is Brisbane Lions are coming, Ipswich FC for the soccer, the hockey and the union are all coming. So that's really good for our multicultural community. But can I just say I want to thank everyone here, councillors, mayor, that you're all coming. You've all said you're coming. I'm so chuffed, can I say. Councillor Doyle, Councillor Tully, Councillor Johnnick all have stalls. Councillor Antonelli's going to come early and help. You haven't reneged that, have you, Councillor Antonelli? Yeah, but it's going to be a really good day, and so I just want to thank everyone for participating because I know you all really are behind our multicultural community. Thank you.
And I think I'd see in today's paper, I think nearly all the state MPs have mobile offices, and the federal MP, I think Shane Newman also has a mobile office there on Saturday as well. Well done. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Next item is the 16.4, the motions for the 2026 Local Government Association of Queensland Conference. Look, there are 2 recommendations and I thought we should deal with each one separately if that's okay. So deal with A, which is that Council approved motion 1 as detailed in attachment 1, and that one has come from council officers, and I'll read out the motion. The title of the motion is Infrastructure Charges for Land Extensive Low Building Footprint Uses, and the motion is that the LGAQ calls on the state government to enable councils to charge infrastructure contributions based on outdoor use area in conjunction with gross floor area as a reflection of development demand where uses are land extensive, low building footprint, i.e. high impact industry uses conducted mainly outdoors such as outdoor compost manufacture, waste disposal, landfill, etc., bulk landscape supplies, outdoor sales, etc. So I'm happy to move that one. Do I have a seconder, Councillor Tully? Thank you. I'll open it up for discussion. I guess in moving that, I'm supportive of this motion because it addresses a long-standing gap in the state's infrastructure charging framework that does actually impact Ipswich significantly. At present, councils can only levy charges for certain industrial uses based on gross floor area. For land-extensive operations with very small building footprints like outdoor composting, waste disposal, landfill, bulk landscape supplies and other high-impact outdoor uses, gross floor area simply doesn't reflect the actual demand placed on our trunk infrastructure, especially the transport network. We see this clearly in Swanbank and New Chum, where large outdoor industrial activities generate heavy vehicle movements and significant servicing demand despite having minimal built form. The motion seeks a practical fix, updating the Planning Act, the regulation prescribing charges and the planning regulation so councils can charge based on outdoor use area alongside gross floor area. This would give councils across Queensland with similar land-intensive industrial uses a more equitable way to align contributions with actual development demand. Councillor Tully, as the seconder, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I think the wording is self-explanatory, and this applies to 77 councils in Queensland, but the larger councils are affected much more by the inability to charge infrastructure contributions except based on the gross floor area. And even though the wording that you mentioned and the background to this motion, which is coming up to the October conference of the Local Government Association, refers to the Ipswich situation, I'll just give you another example where the amount of contribution should be related to the use. It could be as simple as in other areas such as a golf driving range, which might have a very tiny little office sort of area, but a huge impact by the hundreds of vehicles that are turning up there, as one simple example. Mayor, and you'll be aware, and councillors who attend the conference, that motions that are put up have to have a wider applicability to local government in Queensland generally, not just one council, not just a tiny handful of councils. So when this is being proposed, Mayor, at the conference, I think you and I as the two delegates need to make it clear that this is something, and there's probably a range of other examples to make sure that it's not just confined to an Ipswich situation. So I'm strongly supportive of this motion.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
So just a little date adjustment.
Yep.
Sorry, on the resolution date.
Yes.
I think it's the
Yes.
5th of the 6th.
Yes. It should be changed to...
That's all. Thank you. But I support.
Councillor Tully's influence is rubbing off on you.
I know.
Thank you. So that's the day resolution, changed from the 25th of June 2026 to the 30th of the 7th, 2026. Thank you. I'm happy with that amendment. Councillor Tully, you're happy with that? Yep, thank you.
Yes, Mayor.
I'll open it for other discussion. No, in that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. The second motion here, which is B, which I'll read out. The title of the motion is Increased Federal Funding to Reflect Growth in Demand for Citizenship Ceremonies in Queensland. And the motion is that the LJQ advocates to the Australian Government for additional payment to councils to support its requests for increased numbers of citizenship ceremonies delivered in Queensland. If I could move that, and I do note that I think the Deputy Mayor would like to put forward an amendment, but if I think Councillor Tully said you'll second that, so we can get the discussion started.
Seconded.
Thank you. So before speaking to, did you wish to put your amendment up, Councillor Jake?
I'm happy to discuss it with the group prior to putting anything forward. It was just a thought of mine, that's all.
Okay, and speaking to this one, the Australian Government has increased expectations around the number of citizenship ceremonies councils are asked to deliver, purely because we do have more people who love being Australian and are embracing our lifestyle here, and so we are a fast-growing city as well. We have had a dramatic increase in the past couple of years in regards to the number of citizenship ceremonies, like many councils in Queensland. But unfortunately, the funding from the federal government hasn't increased proportionally for us to run the ceremonies as we normally would. The citizenship ceremonies are one of the most meaningful civic moments we host as a council, and councils take that responsibility very seriously. But the reality is that the funding model simply hasn't kept pace with demand. Right now, councils are expected to fund citizenship ceremonies out of our annual financial assistance grant, a single untied bucket that covers everything from roads to libraries to community programs. While conferee numbers continue to surge in high-growth councils and regional centres, that hasn't continued proportionally. I'll give you an example. In Ipswich alone, the conferee numbers have grown. In 2023, we had 949 people in Ipswich become new Australian citizens. By the end of this year, that will be 4,000. And we've been told by the Department of Home Affairs that the next year or two it'll go to 7,000 a year. And as you'll know, councillors, we've dramatically changed our citizenship ceremony to streamline. I was doing in the beginning, I think, 6 ceremonies a year of about 130 to 180 people. We're now doing, 10 times a year and double ceremonies at those, and we're getting about 300 people through each of those. So it's we have streamlined incredibly, but we have not received increased funding. We have increased ceremony numbers, expanded capacity, changed our event format, and stretched every logistical lever we have, working with the Department of Home Affairs. This motion simply asks for fairness and some respect for the occasion. If the Australian Government requests councils to deliver additional ceremonies and an increased number of conferees, then we should be provided with additional support to be able to deliver these to a standard fitting of such an important event. And I have written to the relevant federal minister on this over the last 2 years, but without any success. So that's why, and speaking to other mayors around Queensland, this is something that they are very keen to proceed with as well. Councillor Tully, as the seconder.
Yeah, I'm supportive of the intent of the motion, Mayor. We're all conscious of any motion that we put up. The intention is to have it carried at the conference, and the simplicity of this motion would suggest that most of particularly the larger councils in Queensland that have many people who are becoming citizens would support this motion. But Councillor Johnny has just raised, a minor issue, that whether or not the wording could be improved without affecting the generality of this, and without tying it down, and without having too many structured changes to it, because for many years I've been a delegate to the conference. The simplicity of motions usually ensures, and we've had a pretty good record, as I've often said, of getting our motions through. Not 100%, but probably a lot higher than many other councils. So having said that, I'm happy to hear any proposal from Councillor Johnny.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. And I fully support the intent of the motion. It is just another form of cost shifting, I guess. But I just feel that the language may be a little bit open-ended and vulnerable when we do currently receive the limited funding we do get for the citizenship ceremonies through our federal assistance grant. So I don't want to be open to any adjustments in those grants that will take away funds for other projects. That's my only issue. So if I can suggest an amendment.
You can always suggest an amendment.
Sorry, Vicky, which would just add on to the recommendation in the attached motion template, and it adds without any reduction of any other Australian government funding to councils. So that still keeps it relatively high level and simple.
I'll just get the Deputy Mayor to look at that. Without any reduction of Australian government. Is that the amendment you put forward, Deputy Mayor?
Without any reduction of any other government funding to councils. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Vicky.
I
think the reduction is simple.
I just hazard that, and Councillor Tully will know, at LGAQ, what happens when you get to the motions, making it too long-winded and complex, or just keeping it simple, I think, and very broad, so the LGAQ can, I guess I just put that down. I think that's taken for granted, that we don't want to, rob Peter to pay Paul kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I
otherwise, I don't have any issues. I guess I'll seek Councillor Tully's advice. I don't.
Councillor Antonelli has mentioned about affecting, but that would open up the debate. Well, affecting it in what way, in a non-financial way, and whatever. But that's still a pretty relatively short motion.
Okay.
And with the councils in Queensland, they often see it differently. I just might make a comment that it's only been in the last 10 years or so that motions have to actually go through a council meeting to be put on the agenda. Prior to that, officers could put up and proposed motions. I remember one time where a delegate from Logan City wasn't even aware of the motion because the officers had put it through to the LGAQ, which was quite an interesting situation.
I remember that.
But some councils in Queensland actually vote on and direct their delegates how to vote on every motion. And there was an unusual situation on one occasion where an amendment was moved, which was perfectly reasonable, and the councillors and mayor from that council said to me they couldn't support it even though they wanted to, because the council had restricted them to the wording through a council. We're only voting today, of course, to put the motion forward, but the flexibility of the meetings means there's often amendments that are put forward. So if you tie delegates down to that, you could end up not having at that meeting, and we can do anything we want today. But I think that wording is probably okay because the amendment, because it just makes it clear that it's we don't want to get the extra funding at the expense of some alternative reduction.
In that case, I'm comfortable with that amendment. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So that's the motion to us now. I'll open the floor to others to speak. Yes, Councillor Madsen.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to commend the Deputy Mayor for her amendment, and that's principally because there's been some good news for local government in the last week. That was the announcement from the federal government of a local government, what is it called? Sorry, I had my notes here and I've changed tabs. There we go. The Local Government Federation Compact, which includes a commitment to annually increase the level of financial assistance grants to councils across Australia. Councillor Tully, through his work with the LGAQ policy executive, is probably aware that Mayor Matt Burnett of Gladstone has done some great work in advocating for that on behalf of local governments. And because of that already being in train and leading to this commitment that's in place already to increase financial assistance grants, I think the clarity provided by the amendment will actually allow us to focus on what the actual real substantive issue is here. Local government finally has movement on getting more federal funding, but principally the issue that we have here is doing more citizenship ceremonies. So it should be actually focus on that little quirk there, so that we're not drawing down expenditure on other things to fund citizenship ceremonies. So once more, I thank the Deputy Mayor for her amendment, which has brought great clarity to this issue.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. We now move on to item 17, there's notices of motion. There's none. Item 18, questions.
Mayor, I have a procedural motion, if I could.
Can I just do the questions on notice? Then I think there's you've got your, and I think,
yeah,
and
as long as.
I think Councillor Madsen also wishes to suspend standing orders as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So I'll just do the question, if I can, question on notice. I'll just point out that I raised some questions and they're now in there, so thank you very much. I'll now hand over to, we'll finish that, the formal part, I guess. I'll now hand over to, I think, Councillor Tully, you wanted to suspend standing orders for, if you could say what it's for and for the amount of time.
Yeah, I'll just read the motion out. I move that so much of the meeting procedures policy be suspended to enable the immediate moving and consideration of the following motion: that the August 2026 Council Committee meetings be held from 9 a.m. on the 11th of August 2026, and that the proposed Councillor briefing session workshop schedule for that date be held from 9 a.m. on the 13th of August 2026.
Thank you. I'm happy to second that, to suspend standing orders. I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? It's unanimous. Sorry, how long will you just say under meetings procedures? You have to say how long you're going to suspend for.
Just for the moving and consideration
up
of
to
that
10 minutes.
motion.
Up to 10 minutes?
If it takes that long.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. So I'll put the vote again. Thank you. It's unanimous and carried. Okay, I'll hand over to yourself, Councillor Tully, to move.
Okay, I will now move the motion which was embodied in the procedural motion. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll wait for Vicky to bring it up and I'll read it out. The provision of these meetings procedures, that the August 2026 council meeting be held, so it's looking at a date change, be held from 9 a.m. on the 11th of August. Sorry, the council committee meeting be held from 9 a.m. on the 11th of August 2026, which is where we had proposed for the council briefing session, workshop session, instead of the date of the 13th of August. Do you wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Tully?
Just briefly, Mayor, we do meet traditionally on a Tuesday, and it keeps that in line with, I understand there was some situation with Vietnam Veterans Day, which is on the 18th, but not on that date. And there was a change that we had voted for, but I think procedurally, if we do it that way, it just keeps it in sync with how we know and how the public has expectation of the committee meeting days and the council meeting days.
Thank you. Can I just check with the CEO, any issues? I know that you have timeframes for papers to be put in and briefing sessions to rearrange, but is this administratively able to be accommodated?
If we could, Mayor, as Chair, ask for your indulgence that it does compress the time for us to finalise reports to committee by a little.
So there might be a couple of late reports to committee chairs?
We'll just ask for your indulgence. Hopefully we won't need it, but we may need your indulgence with the timing. But we'll do our best.
Okay, so if I let the committee chairs know that if you do approve this, there might be a couple of late reports. Thank you, CEO. Open up for other discussion? There be no discussion. Councillor Tully, do you wish to say anything before we go to the vote?
That's fine, thank you.
All those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. And then I think we'll move back into standing orders. Do you wish to move that?
I'll move that, Mayor.
I'll
that we resume
second.
standing orders.
And I'll put that to the vote. Thank you. Councillor Madsen, I believe you wish to suspend standing orders?
If I may just take the opportunity, Mayor, to just check if people wanted to do morning tea first or if they just wanted to knock it out.
What a good idea.
How long?
Okay.
I'm happy either way, but
Okay.
I appreciate people.
Thank
sort of
you.
like
It's
having a break.
9:59. May I ask that we break until 10:20?
Okay.
Do I have a seconder for that? Adjourn, sorry. Okay. Councillor Doyle seconded that. All those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. We'll be back here at 10:20. Thank you. Good morning. It's now 10:20. We've just had an adjournment. We've come back. We have all councillors here except for Councillor Doyle. Oh, Councillor Doyle's here now. Thank you. We were on looking at suspending standing orders to go into a matter, so I'll hand over to you, Councillor Madsen, on how you'd like to manage that.
Thank you, Mayor. I've talked with some people over the break about a better way to word things. So I'm going to suggest that standing orders be suspended for 20 minutes to allow for debate and discussion of the following motion. That motion will be that Council consider options with potential changes to PDAs in Queensland.
Okay, thank you. Seconder for that, thank you, Councillor Antonelli. Any discussion? Put to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. So we've suspended standing orders.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. I'd now like to move, and again, I've discussed it with officers about what the best option is in terms of moving into a closed session to discuss the matters with this. And I've been advised that the best reason is for the local government's budget and the financial impacts. So I'd like to move that the meeting be closed so that we can discuss the matter with respect to the local government budget information, and that at this stage needs to remain confidential.
Thank you. And for that, you don't need a seconder. I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. So we will be going now into, it's a closed session, so may I ask everyone to leave the public gallery.
Okay.
Thank you. My apologies, we're back into open. I didn't call for a seconder. So obviously Councillor Madsen moved. Councillor Tully, you've indicated that you're second.
I'll second that, Mayor.
We'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? It's unanimous and carried. We'll now go into closed session for 20 minutes. Thank you, everyone. It is 10:42. We've just been in closed session for the allotted, I think, 19 minutes of the 20 minutes, but the discussion's still going on. So I think Council would like to go back into closed session.
If I may, Chair, I think we actually need to extend the suspension of the standing orders, not so much the closed session.
Oh,
The
you're
time
right. It's
limit
the-
pertains to the, yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
I'm happy to move that if, is
Okay.
there a suggested time, noting we don't want to really cut it short again.
30 minutes.
I'm happy to extend the suspension of standing, or
You'll
move to suspend standing orders for a further 30 minutes.
Thank you. Seconded
to
by
continue.
I'll
Councillor
second
Tully.
that, Mayor.
I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Thank you. We go back to closed session.
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, we have to move to go back into closed session. So I'm happy to move basically the same motion as before.
Thank you.
Make sure we get a seconder this time.
And I think, Councillor Martin, you had your hand up to second that. I put that to the vote. Those in favour? It's unanimous. We are back in closed. Let me know, Harrison, we're back in closed. And thank you. It's 11:12 a.m. and we've just come out of, I think my alarm's about to go off, 30 minutes of closed session. I'll hand back to the person that moved the motion and see what.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to withdraw the motion, given that through our discussion we may need some more information and have to correspond more and before we know.
And can I just thank you for raising that?
Yeah, no
Thank
worries.
Thank you. Do you wish to suspend standing orders for a reason?
I may do. Maybe I'll just.
Well, you'll have to because we're at the end of the meeting now.
I'll
I'm closing.
I'll move to suspend standing orders.
Okay, for what reason?
The matter I want to raise concerns the Amberley Post Office. Now, Amberley Post Office.
So you're before going to. So you're wanting to close this to discuss a federal government matter?
Yep. Well, no, not close. I'm not closing. Just suspend.
I thought suspend.
Orders.
Sorry, suspend
Yeah.
standing orders.
Yeah.
They're already closing it. You want to? Okay.
Well,
Okay, I'll put you. Put it
I don't
through.
think it's confidential. Yeah.
No, it's not confidential. No. A letter went out about a month
I
or
just
two
need
ago.
a seconder for the suspending standing.
So you're
orders.
looking at suspending standing orders
Yes.
to discuss the closure?
Yes.
Okay, and Councillor Martin, you're happy to support that? I'll put that to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. That's everyone, except for me. Against me, and I'll say the reason why. We've known about it for some months, and I don't know why a notice of motion could have been put forward 5 days ago. And we need to have a council meeting that's run in good governance. I'm usually a pretty flexible chair, but that's something that could have been put forward as a notice of motion. Anyway, it's carried, it's forward, and now you'd like to put forward something.
Yes, Mayor. As you said, I think most of us were notified that the post office would close, but I was unable to get any more information than that. But yesterday I spoke to the licensee of the post office, and she informed me that she'll be closing on the 28th of August, and that's what makes this a matter suddenly arising with some urgency. Now, just to explain with Australia Post, so we have Australia Post wanting to close the post office. The licensee wants it to continue, so she clearly believes that it's a viable business. The way Australia Post works is it's controlled by two federal ministers, and they're called the shareholder ministers, and they're Senator Katie Gallagher, Minister for Finance, and Annika Wells, the Minister for Communications. What I'm simply seeking is that the Mayor or the CEO, which is ever appropriate, write to those two ministers and request that the decision be reversed. Now, just to give you a bit of background, it's an unusual post office in that you can only access it if you're on base. That's why many of you would never have seen it. You would have driven past it if you've ever gone to Bomber Command Services or any. You would have driven big signs, Australia Post signs, but it's really only for the use of people on base. Although, people that have passes, I guess they could use it. It's a very important facility at the base in that it's not just a post office, it also operates as a bank. And as one of the service people who have contacted me yesterday told me, it's kind of like this, Jim. If I'm working on the base all day and I need to go to the post office, I've got to wait till I finish my shift. And they have set hours, and they can only go to the post office out of hours. Whereas currently, during the break, they just walk into as I found out yesterday when I was there, when about 10 people came through and did various things. Somebody wanted to send a letter to Canberra, somebody wanted to pick up a package, that sort of thing. So in a nutshell, I'm concerned about this. My residents are concerned about this. I want the decision reversed, and I want our council to write to these two ministers and request that the decision be reversed.
Thank you. Can I ask you just to read out what you would like the motion to be for the Secretary, so we know what we're discussing?
Yeah, that's fine, Mayor. Just want to clarify, if we're writing to ministers, is it yourself, Mayor, or is it?
It's usually elected rep to elected rep and senior.
Well, okay. Well, I'll do it. I'll do the Mayor. That the Mayor write to Senator Katie Gallagher, Minister for Finance, and Annika Wells, Minister for Communications, in their capacity as shareholder ministers for the Australia Post Board and request that the decision to close the Amberley Post Office which is to take effect on 28 August 2026, be reversed. Full stop. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Martin, as the seconder, do you wish to speak to that motion?
Yes, Mayor, as you alluded to, you said that we've known about that for some time, and certainly I'd known about it. However, I had not realised the importance nor significance until talking with Councillor Madden yesterday when he came back from speaking with the licensee of the post office. So I hadn't realised the impact it would have on particularly RAF personnel. Well, I dare say only RAF personnel. Until
And
that,
civilians.
yeah, and civilians there. Like I believe there's over 6,000 people, as you well know, Mayor, employed at the base. And as Councillor Madden said, it's a bit difficult when you're actually out there, somewhat isolated, to actually go out and make use of post office. So until he explained that to me yesterday, I hadn't realised the enormity of them closing the post office. I think it's somewhat sad just across the nation that post offices have been shutting, and I've often lamented about the one in town actually shutting. I think it's somewhat disappointing that Ipswich CBD no longer has a post office. I know we have the news agency in town just up the road here, but I think it's a shame that the post office, which was built in 1900 as a substantive GPO post office, is no longer in action. And I'd just like to reiterate what Councillor Madden said with regard the closure of the one at Amberley. Thank you.
Thank you. May I speak to this? And I speak to someone who's used this post office so many times I can't count because I'm based. And it used to be, I guess, more popular when the fencing was open so the public could use it as well. And there was dual access. There was the base access and the public access of that licensed post office. And so I know it quite well and people use it. I'm keen to table a letter which came from Australia Post, which obviously was sent to myself and the two divisional councillors, and I think we had it shared on the 5th of June, 2026 from Australia Post, outlining that it would close on the 28th of August. And they do provide also that there are other outlets, so they're recommending that people go to the West Ipswich Post Office or the Ipswich LPO in Nicholas Street, the Ipswich North LPO at Riverlink, or the Brassel LPO, the Brassel Shopping Centre, or the Rosewood LPO. I'm just letting you know that's the letter that we got from the Australia Post, and I'm allowed to table that letter just for transparency. Could I have a seconder to table that letter? Thank you, Councillor Martin. All those in favour? Thank you. Just so people can see what we got. Thank you. I'm just curious to know, have we spoken to our local federal member about it?
I only found out about these details yesterday, and I've received a flood of...
Oh, sorry, yes.
No, I have not spoken to the federal member.
Okay.
What I have done is this, Mayor. I have submitted a submission last night to the Senate inquiry, where they have an inquiry with regard to the operations of Australia Post, and I've made that submission, and I've done everything I can to inform the community of this, and the response I've got, Mayor, is just overwhelmingly against it. Okay. One thing I should mention, and this I only learnt this from talking to the licensee, was that when she proposed, well, there's a vacant office at the Willowbank Shopping Centre. How about I move there? No. Okay. How about I move to Walloon? No. So they're not just shutting down the Amberley Post Office. They're stopping the licensee from moving her licence to other premises, which I think is extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Particularly given that there is vacant premises. We're talking half a kilometre away, outside the base. Yeah. Okay. And she could easily move there. And obviously it's going to cause her financial difficulties. This is her business. So I guess you could say this, Mayor, notwithstanding the fact that we all did receive that letter, the gravity of the change, the closure of the post office has been brought to bear by me, particularly servicemen and servicewomen that I spoke to. The idea that if you're at work and you've got a particular shift and you've got to be on base during that time, and at the end of that shift, the post offices are closed, you can't go to a post office. Yep. So, and I there was a young man there when I was there, and he was trying to send a letter to Canberra. He didn't quite know the procedure about express packages and this sort of thing. And the postmistress, the licensee, explained it to her. And the fact there's a sign outside saying they do bank transfers there.
Okay.
You know.
Thank
So
you.
I guess it was a gravity once I visited there, and it was explained to me by not just the licensee but by people who have contacted me just in the last 24 hours, is why I'm doing this now.
Thank you. I wasn't aware of that. Thank you, Councillor. I think I've got Councillor Doyle and Councillor Tully.
Oh, thank you, and apologies, Councillor Madden, I may have missed this during your commentary. Am I correct that there is a post office agency within the Willowbank pharmacy, the Willowbank shopping centre there? Because I recently attended.
No, there isn't.
I recently attended.
No, I tell you what there is at Willowbank. At the Willowbank shopping centre, there is in the chemists, they've got some arrangement for collection of parcels.
Right.
But not Australia Post parcels.
Okay.
Something like that.
I was able to post a letter,
No.
but I was looking for gift cards, and they didn't provide the full suite of service that.
That's the closest that at the Willowbank shopping centre, O'Reilly's Road. That's the closest to something like what the post office, Amberley Post Office provides. That's the closest in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Willowbank shopping centre, there's a cafe, a chemist, a barber, a military shop, and I think an NDIS outlet there.
I've just Googled. This is Australia Post. There's a Willowbank CPA. Yeah, I don't know what CPA is.
Communist Party of Australia.
I physically attended it about 3 months ago.
Okay.
But again,
It's not listed on the,
Yeah, but again, Mayor, bear in mind, even if it was 1 foot outside the main gates, those servicemen and servicewomen can't go out the gate during.
Yes, like they can.
Well, they
in
can.
their lunch break
Yeah.
and their morning tea break. Yeah, they can.
Well, look, I can tell you this: there is no Australia Post at Willowbank. There's an Australia Post at Amberley.
Thank you. I think Councillor Tully, you're next.
Yeah, look, I've been there when it did have public access, with the dual counter, I guess, and I'm quite familiar with the operation. But the largest RAF base in Australia, it's basically a city within a city, and we know that because we know the number of vehicles, the issue on the Cunningham Highway there. This is one of the poorest decisions of Australia Post that I've ever seen, and there's been many closures around Australia. I think it was in the reported today that the cost of one postage stamp for one small letter is going up, I think, to $1.82. They're more interested in trying to exclude letters from being collected. They're trying to move to, and they've pretty successfully done that, to parcels or smaller parcels. And obviously there's a need for this. The person who's the operator of it, they must be able to facilitate that in a financial way. I just think we as a council really need to stand up to this, because it's just the services provided by Australia Post are just being eroded all the time, bit by bit, all the time. You wonder what it's going to be like. Are they going to close down letters completely? In the near future, are we going to have people delivering a mail, or are they looking at other alternatives? So I fully support this motion.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Councillor Madsen.
Yeah, I'm in full support of the motion. Our growing city actually needs more post offices, not less. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to do this. One of the negative impacts, I guess, that happens when one post office closes is it pushes demand to others. And other post offices in Ipswich can actually be quite difficult to access, and there can be significant lines and timeframes involved. So it should actually be the opposite, where Australia Post is opening more post offices in Ipswich, particularly growing areas like Ripley, growing areas like Walloon. So it is quite interesting to see the opposite being put into effect. And I do note the significant amount of service people that work on that site, and it doesn't seem to actually prevent it from being a viable post office. It seems to be servicing a much greater people than many post offices that probably exist in rural areas. So I'm not sure that economics is really driving this. Doesn't seem to stack up. Thank you.
Thank you. And just before I go to Councillor Tilly, Katie is with a Y, not an IE. Yeah, Y. Thank you. Councillor Tilly. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Much has been said about postal services being carried out at the Amberley Post Office, but it's also been mentioned the finance services that are offered there as well, bank services. And I think that's probably just as important in this regard.
We've mentioned the fact that it's hard enough to get into the base off the Cunningham Highway. We're asking people to leave the base and then try and re-enter it. I think that that's not necessarily a smart idea either. So I just think it's not smart from just about any perspective. And parcel services now are probably one of the biggest parts of the Australia Post network. And I would imagine that the loss of that particular service there at the base is not just for mail and the like, it would be for parcel services as well. So I think that's it's a very unique situation there at the base. I think we'd be supporting our Defence Force by supporting this motion as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Look, thank you very much. I'll hand over to you. I'll say a few words. Thank you for your support of the not just the ADF members, but the defence industry and public servants that work there on base as well. I think it's interesting to note that if you've seen the licensee, the LPO owner, it says it's a profitable business. It's been my experience that they usually close them when they're not a profitable business. So that's interesting. And I think also you've brought to the table things I didn't know, that, you know, they were trying to go to Walloon or Willowbank, or, you know, and were knocked back, which seems not very fair either as well. So thank you. In that case, I'll hand over to yourself to a right of reply, and then we'll go to the vote.
Sorry, thanks. Sorry. Yeah. I'm sure the residents who the servicemen and servicewomen and civilians who work at Amberley RAF base would be pleased that Ipswich City Council has taken an interest in a vital service in our area that's outside of our control. It's a federal government facility. And in saying that, it was also recently brought to my attention by the Marburg Post Office that there's an inquiry, a Senate inquiry, with regard to the operations of Australia Post, and you could say what we're talking about today, may be something that justified that inquiry. But the catch with that inquiry is submissions close on the 7th of August. Very simple. You know, I did one last night. It was very short, and I think, you know, I encourage people to make those submissions. And as I've said, and as you've alluded to, Mayor, I've also encouraged people to contact their federal MP and their local senator about this issue. But it is telling that I have a post office in my area, not Amberley Post Office, that's writing to me and encouraging me to make a submission to a Senate inquiry, because I think they think they're under the gun, if you know what I mean. They're a small, Marburg's a very small, you couldn't get a smaller post office in Marburg. So if Australia Post are out there looking, you know, to remove a post office, they'll be looking for the small ones first. So that's it, Mayor. That's pretty much it.
Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. That's unanimous and carried. Thank you very much, Councilman.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll now come back into standing orders. I'll move that we go back into standing orders, and the Deputy Mayor has seconded that. I'll put that to the vote. It's unanimous. Thank you. And with that, I'll close the meeting at 11:31. Thank you so much.